What's going on, folks? I just doing a little update on the aquaponics system and stuff. Made a few changes, added a couple of things, wound up having to order, you know, some extra additives and all that. But anyway, we'll take a look at it right quick. Not going to be a very long video. So if you look, the leaves are kind of got some yellow going on. They're not the only one. And really there's not a whole lot of growth going on with the peppers. I've actually picked a couple of peppers off of there. Got I don't know if that's squash or whatever. Anyway, the plants are suffering from nutrients, right? Because I didn't do the process right. I didn't put the fish in and let the cycle run for 2 or 3 weeks or whatever. I put the plants in first. So the plants were dearly suffering, right? And in the also too, we had some algae starting to form, namely because I didn't get the fish tank painted yet, which I'm getting around to that. The cure for the malnutrition plants is iron, right? So I ordered some iron here. I didn't realize that it was coming out of Dallas, but it is. Anyway, I ordered it on Amazon, got it. I think it was like $23 or whatever, and really in the grow beds you wind up dumping. I think I dumped the equivalent of 2.5 tablespoons, divvied up between the 3 grow beds, and it turned the fish tank water orange. I mean, it looks like it. Well, anyway, but it's not bad for the fish, and as you can see, I got my goldfish going in, swimming around pretty good. They're actually pretty happy. If you can see, I also went and got some Picassivus, or however you pronounce it. I started having some algae grow, right? Had algae building up pretty good, especially around the top parts here, and it was getting into the pipes and all that. You can see the fish, they think it's time to eat. I feed the fish the typical goldfish flakes until they get bigger, and then I'll start doing pellets, right? And I'm actually kind of proud of myself that my fishies have lived this long. We've only lost 2, and one of them jumped out of the tank, and the other one didn't last very long in the bag. He was actually dead before we dumped him out. But you can see that my goldfish are growing. I don't think none of them are small enough to get sucked up through the standpipe anymore. The iron in the water is okay. I mean, it's not bad for the fish. I've also got some, I forget what it's called, humic acid, folic acid, something like that. Anyway, basically just a little dab of it in the water will actually turn it shades of gray, which will actually create shading within the water itself, and that'll help keep the algae down. I got the Picassivus. I mean, literally within 2 days of having 4 Picassivus, and of course they were only 1.5 inches, 2 inches long. Within just a matter of days, it had what algae was built up in the fish tank cleared up. Other than that, I went ahead and glued all my fittings, got ball valves in there so I could regulate it. I was able to crank up the pump just a little bit more. Coming off of the radial flow filter, I went ahead and put screws in there because I wanted to be able to break it down from that point. But starting at that joint, I glued all that together so that, because this system will stay this way, for the rest of the time. Anyway, I got everything well regulated now, and everything's dumping right, and everything's flowing evenly. It's there. I also added these caps. Of course, for whatever reason, this one doesn't fit very well, but it's just to keep the debris out, and make sure nobody drops any gravel or anything down in there, because it's really hard to get back out, especially with them old malls. Other than that, I mean, we're clicking right along. I'm gonna have to get a battery backup air pump. I got that one air pump, you know, that for $5 at the Bowie Trades Day, and it works, but it wound up getting hot and causing a blowout in the hose right outside of the pump. So I had that hooked up, and I had regulators in there to where I was bleeding air off and trying to minimize the pressure in the fish tank so they wasn't boiling, you know, not by temperature wise, but just the whole sheer volume of air getting pumped into the poor fish. Anyway, they're doing good. Everything's clicking along. Still got the salt filter on there. You can see that there was some algae buildup. Algae's good, just not for aquaponics. What we need is the microorganisms to start kicking in, and once we actually start getting some solid stuff down in the bottom and they start breaking stuff down, I'm probably going to get some compost worms and dump it in there. The one issue that I do notice that we're having, I've got some calcium hydroxide coming, which will help regulate the pH balance in the water better. I also have a water testing kit coming, so that I'm able to determine the best water balance in it. And that pump kit will actually, or not the pump kit, but the water kit will help balance the nitrates and the nitrites, and also the pH levels, the mid-range and the high-range pH levels. Other than that, in the radial flow filter, we're having I'm having issues with mosquitoes. So I'm probably here in the next week or so, I'm going to order me a dozen or so, 2 dozen. What do they call them? They call them mosquito fish. Western mosquito fish. I think I'll order them out of North Carolina or Florida. There's one of the two places that I was looking at, and they'll ship them to me, and I'll probably wind up putting them in the radial flow filter. I'll put a screen over the water distribution outlet. Put a screen over that, so they'll be all right there, and then I'll also put a couple in the fish tank, and I put a few in the sump tanks, right, and they can swim back and forth, and that'll help mitigate the problem of mosquitoes, because I took that radial flow filter off, and there was like a swarm of them in there. Like right now, there's no mosquitoes. There's no mosquitoes, but as sure as I'm sitting here, I pull that lid off, there's going to be a buttload of mosquitoes in there. So anyway, that is the update. About the only thing left that I'm going to do to this system, I'm going to take that 1/2-inch valve and I'm going to put it on that bucket. And actually I'm going to come up right there where the W is, and I'm going to do a standpipe coming off the bottom, so it sucks off the bottom, kind of like the standpipe in the fish tank here. It goes all the way down to the bottom, and I'll have it to where it sucks off the bottom and comes out the ball valve. That, and I'm going to add another 1/2 rack over here and put 2 more barrels on this side. Then I'll come out of this radial flow filter and come down just like that. So that way I can increase the volume of water. I was thinking about just coming straight across, and adding, branching off from these here, but I want a higher rate of flow into the fish tank. So in order to do that, I need to increase the volume going out through the radial flow filter, so that way I can push more water. So I'll do the same setup with that, minus that ball valve, because I'm only going to have 2 more grow beds. So I'll get that and that and identical to this side over here for the 2 new barrels going on there. Other than that, that is it. That is it. I don't know when I'll get to that. Hopefully soon, but I don't know. Anyway, talk to y'all later. God bless.